All right, we're having a little too much fun there, testing out our new emoticon that we got. But yeah, there it is. It's the carpet, PDX Airport. But we have a match going already, and yeah, this is Travis Cooper hanging out for Portland Paper here at Guardian Games for Modern Mondays in our final round here, and I am with.
Steven's son, you
Yep.
saw me interview.
And we're watching Jeremy James and Miles Failing. Miles is on Eldrazi and Taxes, and Jeremy is on Grixis Death Shadow. We saw Jeremy in round 2, I believe, and so both these players are undefeated.
Looks like we might have the names backwards
Yep.
as well.
Jeremy is an adult with children, and Miles is in fact 14 or 15, hanging out.
He's a youngin', yeah.
But Miles very much just runs the tables here at Guardian a fair amount, as knows this Taxes deck pretty well and plays a couple times a week.
Yeah, I remember him being just like a small 10-year-old and not having money to buy modern cards. And now he's been yeah, just crushing it with Eldrazi and Taxes.
Oh, thanks Neltrano for subscribing, and yeah, getting the cool carpet emoji there. Maybe you're a Tron player. Hopefully you didn't take the comments about Tron in the last round too disparagingly. But we had a Thoughtseize on turn 1 for Jeremy, and it took a Matter Reshaper, and we're having an Inquisition here on turn 2. And it looks like we got a Stirrings, Eldrazi Temple, a Hierarch, a second Hierarch, a second Stirrings, and another Matter Reshaper.
Miles missing a green source here.
Yeah, it's tough keep there, but I mean, when you have 2 Hierarchs and an Eldrazi Temple, it's kind of hard maybe not to keep that hand, because, you know, lands are going to be payoffs, or some Eldrazi are going to be payoffs. So we just get Eldrazi Mimic here. Kind of an interesting take on the Eldrazi and Taxes list.
Yeah, it looks like he might have made some changes since I've last played against him.
Yeah, it was on the Leonin Arbiters for a while, but I think it's still on Thalia's now, but switched it up and it is playing Hierarchs and Ancient Stirrings.
Yeah, Ancient Stirrings, a very good card in Modern, so a lot of incentive to be playing that.
Alright, Jeremy just bolting the Mimic here, and Jeremy's done a lot of hand disruption, but has not developed a threat, and Miles is playing a Temple and a Seer.
Yeah, it's a very good land to draw off the top there. Looks like Jeremy is going to be Fatal pushing with the Thought-Knot Seer trigger on the stack.
So Jeremy will get to draw a card, Miles will see the hand and take the best card out of it. Alright, what's in the hand? We got a Stubborn Denial, Blood Crypt, and a Swamp, so not very powerful leftovers. Miles is still short on green though, but yeah, green source is going to open up some pretty interesting draws here.
Yeah, Noble Hierarch probably not doing very much, but Ancient Stirring to be able to dig for a threat is going to be really nice.
And I might even play like Hierarch first to then follow up with Stirrings afterwards, because then you could play your colorless Eldrazi that have colored mana cost. Oh, but we do get the Forest here. So it's going to be an interesting choice.
Takes that line.
I don't know which one is right. They're both have different payoffs. Oh, yeah, seems like a good turn there for Miles. Yeah, we got a chat regular that just subscribed, so Futile, thanks for that. Always enjoy you hanging out in the chat. Had some good comments and analysis.
And again, like I said, if you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription.
I just gotta, I'll have to ask my sister for a password. It's funny because she actually works in like esports
Oh, really?
sometimes. Yeah.
Nice.
Wonder if you're watching, Emily. Support your older brother.
Shout out to Emily. Subscribe to us.
All right, Jeremy just playing the lands here, which is interesting. If Jeremy is playing Faithless Looting in the deck, I might want to hold on to the lands, because after you're at about 4 mana in the main deck, you're really kind of maybe maxing out on even 3 is fine for your Snapcaster and 1 mana spells. But
you also want to hold it up for in case Reality Smashers as well.
Correct.
Yeah. So, Displacer.
Whew. Displacer is a good draw, which is, we were talking about Containment Priest coming in the Modern Horizons, and Displacer plus Priest is pretty insane. And yeah, just so if you have recently joined us in chat, we kind of have a theme talking about Modern Horizons here too. If there's any cards you want to see come into Modern or think are going to be there for called shots, feel free to put it up on there and let us know. And it looks like Jeremy didn't really draw any threats that game, and the Displacer would have kind of taken care of any of them. And Miles takes a pretty quick game 1.
Alright, what about Daze? Too powerful?
I don't think it's too powerful. I just think Wizards wants to, they don't want to print unfun cards, and Daze is kind of a bummer to play against.
Yeah, it's kind of a free spell too.
So I was hoping that when Censor came out, that they when I knew we were getting a cycling set in Standard, I was like, oh, are they going to print Miscalculation?
Okay.
Just because it's like it's like not as good as Mana Leak, but it cycles and it counters for 2, which in Modern, usually you're wanting to curve out pretty hard. So it's just a way better Censor, and I think playable in a lot of decks. So I think that would be cool.
Chad is wondering about Factor Fiction.
Oh yeah,
Counterspell.
Counterspell. Yeah. Oh man, don't stress me out like that. I don't.
I think Counterspell is something that is on everybody's radar.
Okay. Yeah, I have 2. I have, like I said earlier, I have 2 foreign black bordered German ones I play in Legacy, and I don't want to get stuck having to pay like $100 for them each if they unban Counterspell. But I also don't ever see myself playing more than 2 in Legacy.
Yeah.
It stresses me out. I get existential anxiety.
See, I can't relate to that. I play like 3 different printings of Primeval Titans in my decks, and foil and non-foil copies of different cards.
Oh god, that's disgusting. What's your basic land situation?
My basic, okay, I have matching basic lands, but there was a point where I was trying to get miscut basics, and so they were all mismatching because they're all miscuts.
Okay, I can get behind that. Pretty hard to find, matching miscut.
Yeah.
Do you still have Primetime?
I do still have Primetime.
Okay.
I still have
Amulet Titan, that is?
4 Primetimes. 3 of them are of different printings.
Oh, okay.
3 different printings of Summoner's Pact.
Good luck, my man.
Yeah, the GP promo one is my favorite. And I have one of those.
Is it the only foil in your deck?
It's not the only foil.
Okay, because
I have
totally judge
I
calling
have
you
maybe
if it's
like
the only foil.
4 different foils, and they're not of the same card, so.
Alright, looks like Miles looking at the hand, and Jeremy's going to draw up 7. So as far as sideboard goes here, probably, yeah, what's call here? Maybe Death Shadow is going to take out some amount of counterspells, Stubborn Denials. I mean, they hit path, and that is the way that Miles, except for Displacer, has to interact with permanents.
Yeah.
Inquisition doesn't seem super great.
Thought seems better here.
Yeah, yeah, because Thoughtseize is going to really hit the cards you're going to have a hard time interacting with, like Thought Knot Seer and Reality Smasher, which hopefully Miles isn't going to deploy till at least turn 3 or 4.
And almost every game I've been saying bringing in Ceremonious Rejection if they have it.
Yeah, I feel like that people kind of took that out of the sideboards after KCI sort of, fell to the wayside with the bans, but I actually think it's a really good sideboard card right now.
Against Tron, random Eldrazi decks, War Prison.
Alright.
Alright, so those Thoughtseize.
Pre-game action. Spoiled cards. I don't know. Like, you know, Sarah Angel Planeswalker seems pretty sweet. I don't think it's a game changer for modern.
I could see it getting played like in Band Spirits, because it's relevant to the creature
It's
type.
like a Gideon type effect.
Yeah. That's a sideboard card, yeah.
And
For the grindier matchups.
I think the Cabal Therapy on creature is actually pretty cool. I don't think it's busted, but I like that card.
As I was talking about, like the black-white like tokens Planeswalker deck, I think it would fit really well in that, being able to sacrifice Lingering Soul tokens.
Yeah, and I like that you can't use it the turn you play it. It just makes it a little bit more fair. So Jeremy getting a pseudo scry here at the bobble, does not want another land, and elects to shuffle with the Bloodstained Mire. Curious if we're going to get a shock, and we do. Oh, Fact or Fiction. Yeah, that would be sweet. I would love that card. It's one of my favorite cards, in fact.
Was it instant speed?
Yeah, it's, can we pull up? We're going to get some graphics pulled up here. It is what Jace, Architect of Thought does.
Right.
Which is also, I love that before the Mind Sculptor got unbanned.
Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself?
Instant speed. Okay.
Seems pretty exceedingly fair.
Yeah.
Just another thing to do it for. And Jeremy's gonna get an Angler out here. So pretty cool turn. I mean, that's where you want to be for Shadow, is you want to have your turn 2 Angler. And Thalia, while good against Death Shadow, is usually better if you're on the play. Once your opponent already has a big Delve threat deployed, it's decreasing value.
Yeah, because at this point, Jeremy could potentially just sit on this Angler behind counterspells, depending on what Miles' draws look like.
Temple Garden taps, so Miles doesn't need the mana. Also, I'm curious if they're going to explore any of the Future Sight cards where they printed like one version of it but didn't like fill out the rest of them.
Oh yeah.
Could be something that happens. Could have interesting implications for Legacy. And oh, that was aggressive there. We get an attack with Thalia and then playing another one. Legendary Rule. Miles is going to keep the untapped one. Curious about that line.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about that either.
If you're going to just throw it away, I like leaving it back as a chump blocker.
I think I'd like that better, yeah.
Especially if you're not playing a deck with lightning bolts. There's no real gotcha type effect for getting in some unexpected damage.
You're at 10. Okay. Brushland. Thought Nuts here.
And we're going to get Thought Knots here. We're going to get a
He's pushed.
fetch.
Looks like Jeremy's pushing the
Yeah.
Thought Knot.
Maybe. Miles was just assuming the worst.
It might have been a preemptive.
Could be something like a Thought Scour now, too.
Oh, a Disdainful Stroke. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Very good.
Miles sees the writing on the wall. Yeah, that is lethal damage that Jeremy would have on that next attack. And I'm going to shuffle it up.
Getting a game 3 out of this.
What do you think about ley line there?
You know, I'm not a huge fan of just ley lines in general.
Says the Dredge player. I really don't like those.
I don't like, especially that black one. I don't really like that Ley Line of the Void. No, I played 2 ley lines in my sideboard, and I kind of always felt bad bringing them in. I don't know.
Only I haven't been.
Yeah, I feel like when you're playing against Shadow, you kind of just want to have as many threats as possible in your
Yeah,
deck.
it's kind of like playing against a mid-range deck almost, even though it kind of plays more like a tempo deck.
And I'm not sure what I would take out, because, you know, especially when you have Aether Vial, even being able to jump block with a smaller creature when your opponent's only attacking with 1 or 2 things, you make them have to play around you instead of the vice versa. So Leyline doesn't really seem that great. especially if I'm thinking about what my opponent is sideboarding, and I'm assuming they're sideboarding some amount of hand disruption out.
Yeah, it seems fine to get Thought Seized or Inquisition. You're not a combo deck,
That's all he is.
you know. You can draw more threats. It's not reliant on other cards that you need out.
I'm curious if Miles has something like a Gideon in the sideboard. That seems like a good card to bring in. But looks like we had a Rest in Peace maybe hanging out at the very far side of Miles' hand there.
I did see it in his deck.
I mean, I can get behind Rest in Peace because
Yeah.
basically make all your Gurmag anglers like
Unplayable.
literally.
Yeah.
Or I've seen them played before. There are enough lands in Grixis Shadow that
Okay.
you can play them.
I
but
didn't know that. Yeah. But yeah, turning off Snapcasters, making Gurmag Anglers super difficult to cast.
Even a bit on the slow side.
You know, for a long time, people would tell me like, against Thoughtseize decks, you just never mulligan. And when I first heard that, I would keep like one-landers, thinking like that it was just this like golden rule that you never break. And oh boy, have I learned my lesson on that.
Scry. Bottom.
Look at Saffron Void. And it looks like Miles did do the mulligan there. Yeah, I'd be curious, speaking of Modern Horizons, something like there was River of Tears, that blue-black land. Like that cycle of lands to get printed could be interesting. I don't think it necessarily unlocks something, but
Kinda, you mean
yeah.
like the same effect where if a land had come in,
Yep,
it would tap for a different land?
etc.
Oh my. Oh no. Oh no.
Or if they did everything in the future sight border.
I would not like that.
All right, another double bobble draw for Jeremy. Oh, looks like chat's on my side with future sight border. Just saying.
I've just never been a fan. I don't.
Okay, we get an Inquisition, we got 2 Matter Reshapers, a Noble Hierarch, an Eldrazi Temple, and a Path to Exile. So this is also showing, maybe we've gotten some bad variants for Miles here, but the amount of colored sources in the deck, especially it's interesting to play a card like Saffron Void
Yeah.
when maybe you want to play an additional colored source. Or even there is, you can probably help me out with this one. There's a land that enters played tapped, but when it comes into play, it adds a mana of any color.
Crumbling Vestige.
Yes, that seems like it might be a
good
maybe
option.
a better card, just when you're playing Noble Hierarch.
Yeah, and this is not like a build that I think either of us are familiar with, and maybe Miles kind of tweaked it himself.
Yeah.
And just the mana base needs to see a little tweakage.
Drawing so many cards.
Well, they all cost the card.
Yeah, if you're playing Noble Hierarchs, you need to be
3
playing
bobbles.
a decent amount of green sources.
I'll get another bobble for Jeremy there.
Only I had my ley line out now.
Could potentially have an Angler here, and there's still no white for Miles in the mana base.
Jeremy knowing that, not taking the Path to Exile, leaving it in hand, potentially Miles having it stranded.
Yeah, the list that Miles is playing is something he's worked on for a while. Miles was playing a more traditional Thalia, Arbiter, Displacer style deck, but then really wanted to experiment with some mana accelerants and Ancient Stirrings, and Miles wins a lot, so I mean he's doing something right.
Yeah, I think the green is definitely a new addition.
Yep. Well, there's the Thought Not Seer picked up, but we still... So now any land is going to be pretty good, but we need a land. But Jeremy also is not deploying a threat.
Going down to 8, yep.
Oh yeah. Your turn.
No, bobble you.
You
And so Jeremy sees that there's a Temple
Temple
Garden
Garden.
on top, so it's like, oh, well.
I wonder if Miles plays like Brushland, which seems.
I think you'd have to, right?
Yeah, but we didn't see in any of the games so far.
You imagine Temple Garden, Brushland. You know, if you're not playing Arbiters, you can play Fetch Lands.
Yeah. It reminds me of like the Bant Eldrazi decks that were big for a little bit.
Big both literally and figuratively.
Are you hurting yourself even more? I mean, you probably have like a shadow or something.
Okay, Jeremy conserving some life points here with the fetch for basic island.
Yeah, Wasteland Strangler in the black-white Taxes deck allows for some pretty broken things with,
Come on.
what was it, 3/1 flyer up
Flicker Wisp?
Flicker Wisp.
And also just suspend cards. Sometimes it's really fun to get people with that too.
Your Ancestral Vision, your Rift Bones.
Alright, we might see a path on a Snapcaster here.
Noble Hierarch.
Yeah.
4.
That's also another way to get rid of that Snapcaster, where you're not giving your opponent a land. Miles makes the right play.
You've blocked. Choose your turn.
So Jeremy's going to need a removal spell plus a threat or 2 threats here. Soon, at least in the next 2 turns. We need that combination of things.
Any creature would be great right now.
Well, that's going to be a hard-hitting Matter Shaper. And what's the freebie?
Temple goes on.
Temple into play.
I mean, those Noble Hierarchs are not irrelevant.
Swing for 2.
Curious where we're at here. I feel like Jeremy may be bolted in response to the triggers, but I guess not.
I didn't see Miles declare any attacks, so
Yeah.
Jeremy could have preemptively done it. Like the right play would have been to wait for the triggers to go on the stack.
Correct. Yeah, it was. Players were playing a little bit fast there, but I think Miles had not gone through attack step, so that's
Good on Miles to
Yeah.
see that. Oh, there is the Brushland.
2. Targeting.
Lightning bolt.
Okay. You have bolted. Your turn.
all right. Jeremy may be getting close to stabilizing, but Miles has a lot of pretty good draws left in the deck.
I mean, Jeremy also knew about the Path to Exile in
Correct.
Miles' hand. I think I might have been incentivized to block before bolting.
Eldrazi Displacer might be one of the best. I mean, lots of good draws in Miles's deck.
Response.
Whew.
Have to snap. So you're at 1.
Wow. Jeremy, knowing that Miles has the Thought Seize, or knowing that Miles has the Path to Exile, cast the Thought Seize to go to 1, and we're gonna get 1 Shadow.
Okay.
It's a big one.
Feels like a lot of Grixis Death Shadow games comes down to like, I am just gonna have to hope that you don't have it.
I feel like with Jeremy having a mana up and a couple cards in hand, and Jeremy also has not been playing all of their cards, that there's something like a Stubborn Denial hanging out. Just my guess. It's not necessarily a card I would even necessarily expect him to keep, but you are, knowing your opponent is going to be playing Path and probably some other additional removal after board. It seems like a
Yeah.
fair thing to do, at least some number of them, maybe not the full play set.
I think maybe with the Path play, it's more likely that Jeremy has a rejection in hand.
Yeah, that is another all these 1-mana blue cards. Could just be an opt.
Could be an
Not an opt.
Jeremy's lands effective. His fetch lands effectively doing nothing.
Yeah, it has to respect the hierarch here.
Yeah.
Love it. Noble Hierarch holding down the fort against a 12/12 Death Shadow. It looks like Miles is just drawing lands. I think it's a pretty good game 3 here.
Yeah. Well, if Miles has a Reality Smasher, or draws it, it won't be able to attack.
Well, it can always attack, but not effectively.
Yeah.
Oh,
You seeing what I'm trying to pull?
that's a Matter Shaper.
So I think with a Matter Reshaper, I think you hold off on the Reality Smasher.
Yeah, there's no real reason. I mean, unless you're planning on drawing another one. Alright.
Come on. Ooh. You're killing me, Smalls.
Trying.
Your turn.
Okay.
Tense match.
Yeah. It's just basically what is Jeremy going to draw and what's Miles going to draw here.
Yeah.
Jeremy's holding onto some cards. Kind of hard to deduce what those cards are. Reactionary cards are lands, because no reason to play a fetch land that you're never going to use, especially if maybe Faithless Looting's hanging out there. I bet there's another threat now, though.
It might be a Battle Rage.
Get it.
It's not a Battle Rage.
You have the Gurmagger,
Okay, I mean, definitely not playing around Path in that case, unless also, Jeremy has some leftovers, so maybe those are a counter spell.
Yeah, he's been holding a couple cards in hand. Could be a Bolt. Bolt's fine. Reality Smasher is...
One turn late.
Yeah, there are 2 temples out there, so Miles had enough mana to cast the Matter Reshaper and the Smashers. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just replying to someone on chat here. The players a lot of times will regular REL and they might communicate things, and so yeah, both players felt like that was how the mana should have was okay to be tapped that way. Jeremy maybe letting Miles change how they tapped mana here. Jeremy's a very accommodating player, and we are a regular REL here, so stuff like that you could try to be a stickler on.
This is kind of interesting place for Jeremy to be attacking into both of this. If Jeremy has only one removal spell in hand, Miles could flip over the 2/1 for 2, and then top deck a Reality Smasher. These are very corner case and
Yeah, I mean it's interesting when you have where you pivot between being like, well, I can't play around everything, or if I do, then maybe I lose some equity by my opponent drawing better cards. So
I do think Jeremy probably has one relevant card in hand.
I'll go.
I'm guessing a creature.
Got the bolt.
I'm guessing Jeremy has at least 2 relevant cards and maybe 2 fetch lands. Both players are at 1, and we get full price Dismember.
Shaper trigger. Good.
And
All right,
that
that's
is gonna
gonna
be
do it.
game.
Wow,
That was a very
Jeremy
good
hanging
game.
out at 1 life. Both players were at 1, but yeah, Jeremy was at 1 there for quite a while, and even playing that Thoughtseize to go down to 1, knowing that he wasn't gonna get a card from Miles.
Then I would have drawn
Pretty,
stuff.
yeah, it's pretty tight play.
Yeah.
Even let Miles maybe change how they tap mana for something to be a little bit disadvantageous to Jeremy, but yeah, ended up winning that in a fine fashion. Oh, it always feels good to win a game when you've been at one for a while.
Yeah.
All right, well, looks like most of the players have wrapped up, are in the middle of game 3 here, so we're going to go ahead and have this be our last match, and I just want to thank everyone for hanging out with us in chat, and just so you know, yeah, we reached affiliate, you can subscribe to us or do all the things that throw money at us, and we're working on getting some more video equipment and doing some like cash invitational style events, so feel free to check us out on Twitter. We try to post up there if we're going to be streaming not on Mondays. We sometimes stream at other stores as well, or if there's larger events, we'll try to be there. And if you want, you can always get in touch with us if you have a Modern event or any Paper Magic event. Legacy would be fun, Standard's fine, that you'd want us to stream. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, and yeah, thanks Steve for being here and commentating this evening.
Yeah, thanks for bringing me in. It was really fun. Yeah, support the stream. Yeah.
Great. Well, we'll see you all next week, if not sooner.